plus I call the Title IX coordinator for Title IX.
So was there
Hey, Rich, real quick, sound check again.
Say that again. 1, 2, 3.
Sounds good.
Rich.
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello,
Hey, Rich, you there?
I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure you're talking awfully light, so
I don't want to yell. Sorry.
keep talking. Make
Hello.
sure.
Check one, ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Keep talking.
Check one, check, mic check. I see Terry wheeling around in her chair. Check
All right.
one, test.
Yep, you got you. Thanks.
Yep.
Call to order, please. Start with the roll call.
Mrs. Fish. Here. Dr. Katachu. Mr. Gordon.
Here.
Dr. Gursky. Here. Mr. Huron.
Here.
Mr. Kirsch. Mr. Reichert.
Here.
Dr. Uasa.
Here.
Mrs. Edmeades.
Thank you. For all those who care to, join me for a pledge of allegiance and we'll silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. There was an executive meeting this evening from 6 o'clock to 6:55. That executive meeting included conversations of some personnel matters, some negotiation issues. We also covered some litigation things as well as public safety. We have a motion to accept the minutes from last meeting.
I make that motion.
Prior to the motion, I'd like to make a motion to amend something in a minute.
All right, thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the July 22nd, 2020 meeting minutes to change my vote from yea to abstain for action number 11.3, bills for payment.
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay, all in favor? Say
Aye.
aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Okay, so now do we have a motion to approve the minutes? Thank you,
I'll second.
thank you.
I'm sorry, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, moving on to board administrative announcements, board reports. Columbia Voc Tech, moving forward with the plan for COVID-related safety plan, and everything's moving in the right direction there. Nothing atypical to report for the company line for Voc Tech. It's IU.
Dr. Katachi is absent, I'll give you a little bit of information about the IU. They discussed their budget and finance matters, including some marketplace things with their Keystone purchasing and their PEPM items. They also had some human resource matters as well as buildings and grounds. They have some leases that are up for their various programs, and then they're going to do some roof repairs and weatherproofing in some of the buildings.
Okay, thank you. Athletic committee? Share? Thank you. Moving on to the superintendent's report. May we have the enrollment report, please?
Enrollment, we now have 2,265 students enrolled in the district. I've done the numbers regarding the various programs that we're running. In the Bridge program, we have 344 students enrolled and across the grade levels. Kindergarten's 20, first grade 27, second 27, third 28, fourth 28, fifth 29, sixth 33, seventh 42, eighth 30, 9 25 students, 10th grade 17 students, 11th grade 24, and seniors 13 students. In our e-learning programs across Ironman, there's 104 students, that's grades K to 8, and grades 9 through 12 are our e-learning grad point, there are 73 students. And there it goes, kindergarten, there are 14, first grade 19, second grade 11, third 13, fourth 11, fifth 16, sixth 8, seventh 6, 8th grade 12, and then 9th grade has 8, 10th grade has 14, 25, and 11th grade and 26 is seniors. So for a total of 177 students. The addition on both together is 521 students, which is approximately 23% of our students. Now, our business manager has kindly done the figures on this at the very lowest cost. That wouldn't include students who are special education and excessive cost when you go to outside schools. We would lose approximately $6.2 million had we not chosen to introduce these two models of instructions in our school district. The other area that we have students who have left the district are homeschool. That's 125 students, which is about 5.5%. Some of them are still connected through dual enrollment. And we just hope that after this COVID situation, we'll have most of these students back in our classrooms.
Seeing for the outer district, cyber estimate.
No, I know a number, 48. And that is fairly similar to what we've had in the past, so we feel comfortable with it. I wish it would be none, but that's how that is.
Thank you. Okay, item 3.2, Pennsylvania State Daughters of the American Revolution Outstanding Teacher of American History Award to James Brennan.
Right. The Daughters of American Revolution has given Mr. Brennan a certificate that says he is the state winner in recognition of outstanding service by stimulating a deeper understanding and appreciation of American history and loyal support of our country and constitutional government. The next area I have for you is special education cyclical monitoring. We had a monitoring in March, which was quite unique because it was the first time PDE had ever done a virtual monitoring. So they will end up coming back and looking at our buildings and where our classrooms are located sometime this fall. But overall, we received the report and it, quote, said that the report documents a very clean monitoring of which the district and all its personnel should be very proud. We had a few minor items that can be easily fixed. There were individual IEP things, but nothing that was systemic at all in our special education. We have a very good monitoring. I have more. Okay. I also wanted to let people know that we have received a mandate from the governor's office regarding athletics. I will read to you that the governor's direction of outdoor gatherings must be limited to 250 people and no spectators. As this pertains to football, we are including the cheer squad as well as the band in the 250 people capacity for all home games. The band and cheer teams will not be traveling, nor will any other PHAC school be bringing cheer or band to our facility. We're definitely happy the girls are included in this scenario and we will be able to be on display as part of the Friday night experience. Danville has installed cameras in the stadium, so there are options to buy subscriptions to NHFS, and I'll have that information either early next week or later this week on the website so that people can then watch the games from home or in groups if they wanted to do it together as a family and watch it. But we will be providing that and making it available. The next thing that came down from the Pennsylvania Department of Health has to do with face coverings. And I'm saying this because I want to clarify a variety of different things that have been told to us that we have restated to parents and to staff. And I just want to make it very clear what the state is telling us the expectations are for face coverings. I'll read directly from the order. The order requires individuals to wear a face covering. Face covering means a covering of the nose and mouth that is secured to the head with ties, straps, or loops over the ears, or is wrapped around the lower face. A face covering can be made of a variety of synthetic or natural fabrics, including cotton, silk, or linen, and for the purposes of the order, can include plastic face shield that covers the nose and mouth. Face coverings may be factory made, sewn by hand, or improvised from household items. Included but not limited to scarves, bandanas, t-shirts, sweatshirts, or towels. While procedural and surgical masks intended for healthcare providers and first responders, such as N95 respirators, would meet these requirements, these specialized masks should be reserved for appropriate occupational and health settings. If anyone has any questions on that, I will be posting that as well on the website, but they can call the office. The last piece is school lunches. During the start of school, students who are on the bridge or e-learning models do have the right to have school lunches. So we'll be distributing school lunches at the Danville Middle School on Mondays and Wednesdays from 9 to 9:45 a.m. Exceptions will be made for the holiday schedules and school opening. So the first pickup will be Thursday, September 3rd, to cover the meals for Thursday and Friday. The pickup location is in the front of the middle school at Bus Loop Gymnasium entrance area, so that you can go in, pick up your things, and get right back out. Hopefully, it'll make a real smooth transition. I think that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Okay, next order of business, move on to the public comment period. We ask for all public comments to be within 3-minute time frame, and they need to be at this point in the meeting for agenda items only. So with that, I reach out to Jeff, whoever's monitoring us. Do we have anybody that would like to make public comments?
If there are any public comments at this time, could you please raise your hand? We have one public comment from Tariq. Tariq, please unmute your mic.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for taking my question. So my daughter will be going into Liberty Valley, intermediate school. So can you clarify about the mask requirement while she's going to in the school, like how long she's to wear it and what's the time frame she can take it off?
First off, we needed your full name and address, and then I will refer you to the principal. Like you can call the building tomorrow and they can clarify things for you, because the buildings have their own way of handling those things. So could I have your full name and address?
Yes, my first name is Tarek, last name is Islam. My address is 157 Jacobs Landing Way, Danville, 17821.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For information about the individual schools, I recommend that you call, you said Liberty Valley, and talk to Mr. Gum.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Are there any more public comment at this time? Please raise your hand. There are no public comments at this time.
Okay, thank you. The next order of business is the introduction to our virtual classroom.
All right. Yeah, John, turn those, just the back two. What's that? Oh, yeah. All right. My name is Jeff Ryan. For those of you at home that can't see me, you'll see me soon enough. I am the Director of Information Technology for the Danville Area School District. And really to this point, we've heard a lot of things about bridge, our bridge and our different programs. And I thought it was real important that, we got the opportunity to kind of show you the equipment behind what's going to make this happen. We're really excited about everything that we have for this. And I'm going to show a little presentation, and I'm going to just quickly go through like the equipment and things that go with the virtual classroom operation. And then I'm going to go into some demo to show you exactly what it looks like. All right. And right now, I just want to make the point that right now, this Zoom meeting is running through the software that the teachers will be using. So you're experiencing, and those of you who are watching at YouTube or through Zoom are actually watching what the teachers will be doing in their classroom. You're actually using it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch here to my presentation. And also to clarify for the people here, the board members, they're seeing this as at home. Well, you can leave the back ones on, just so when we bring the other cameras up, you can see. Yeah, that's good, right, like that. Yep. Oh, it's not a problem. But the important part for the board members is in the classroom, as the teacher is teaching, the kids in the classroom will be seeing exactly what the people at home are seeing, the students at home. So what you're seeing up on the screen is also what they're seeing at home. So I'm presenting, and so it's kind of, we're trying to produce an equity thing where, you know, both students experience the same thing, whether they're at home or within the classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and name the technology operational considerations. Okay, first of all, you know, one of the big things, and just going back when this was all presented to me, when we talked about in the admin meeting, you know, there was this discussion, and, you know, basically the admin team said, hey, listen, you know, we want, you know, the biggest asset of this district, which is true, is our teachers. And, you know, when we want to do a hybrid classroom, we want to take those teachers home. And I was not excited about that thought of how I would accomplish that. It was a daunting task. So, you know, we tried a couple different things and it didn't seem to be working. And eventually I had to lock myself in a room and say, I'm not coming out until I figure something out. So before I got to that point, you know, there's some major considerations to do this. The first one is infrastructure. That's huge because if you don't have the bandwidth or the facilities to do this or the hardware to accomplish this, you can't even start. Fortunately, and I'll go over that in a little bit of detail, you know, we had already started doing this years ago. So we've set the basis for it. Number two, of course, is equipment. You have to have equipment. And again, we've been rolling up to a K-12 one-to-one initiative with Chromebooks for a long time. So we've been building that up to this point. Number three is software. Again, you know, we've been doing some of the things, you know, that it needs to support, you know, a cyber or a virtual classroom for a long time now with Google Suite and some things like that. But, you know, we needed a little bit extra to make this happen. And I'll show you how we did that. And of course, probably the biggest one of all is training. Nothing works in a school or anywhere unless there's an adequate amount of training. Training is the key to everything. And fortunately, we have the people and the resources to make that happen. We have some great people that do our training. And, you know, we have some time, fortunately, here to do a little bit more training. And best of all, the last 3 months of last year, you know, albeit chaotic as it was a great training period, you know, for this, to prepare us for what's coming now. So first of all, I'm just going to go through this real quick. I'm not going to get into any details because it can get, although I love this stuff, you know, I'll lose a lot of people. But we have great infrastructure. One thing I'm not afraid to spend just a little bit more money on is infrastructure, because if you don't have the ability, you know, it's only just like water, you know, you're only as good as the smallest pipe you go through. So if you don't have the facilities to handle everything that's happening, it's not going to happen. So we have a great firewall, we have great switches, a great wireless. We have, you know, 2 gig of bandwidth, which is a lot more than most districts, and we're going to bump that up in anticipation of this as well. And then we proactively monitor. A lot of people are reactive in the way they handle their infrastructure, but we're constantly watching it, monitoring it, making sure things don't go down, and then we can respond quicker to it. So we proactively monitor as well. And then one thing I'm really proud about is we maintain everything in-house. We don't have outside consultants to do our work. So if something breaks, we're familiar with it. And that means we can respond quicker and bring things back up a lot faster. So our infrastructure was ready for this. Equipment, like I said, you know, this is only some of our equipment we have in the district, but this all relates to the virtual classroom. Teacher laptop, document cameras, web cameras, projectors, cables and peripherals, student Chromebook, K-12, and hotspots. And those are the things that make all this work. Our software, we have 1 million software pieces that at our disposal, and the teachers, depending on, their technical proficiency can run wild or can just basically do the base stuff. So the base software that makes this all works, or makes it all work, is Windows 10 is their operating system on our teachers' laptops, the Chrome operating system, which is on our Chromebooks, Google G Suite for Education, which is Sites, Classroom, Meet, Drive and Docs, and Gmail. And then the new one that kind of pulls this all together and makes this, what I say crazy stuff work, is the OBS Open Broadcaster software. And I'll go into that a little bit when we get to it. The training is a huge piece, and I'm going to pass it up in a minute over to Dr. Bickhart here to get a little bit more in depth. But professional development site, we have in-person training, and we just started using technology leads, which is fantastic to have people available in the buildings to allow them to help teachers, and they've been, I got to tell you, I'm going to say it again, multiple times probably throughout this. We have a fantastic group, tech group, and our tech leads are awesome. They've been helping out from the very beginning. They jumped right in. Absolutely awesome. And I could probably go on and on about every individual person that's involved in our technology group, but I could never give them enough credit, because basically they're what make this happen. So I'm going to give it over to Dr. Bickhart, who is going to quickly go over professional development. Dave, you want me to bring it up?
So what we'll talk a little bit about here is what we did with teachers. So one of the questions that was asked, and we went over this last week in the Zoom session when people asked, yes, we made a change to the calendar and there were multiple reasons, but a really effective means to that was this. We spent the past 3 days doing some training. As Jeff said, we've got a great equipment, infrastructure, all of that, but we are not perfect. And I think everybody needs to understand that this is not perfection day one. We are going to build up, we are going to continue to do everything we can to get better at this. It is absolutely unreasonable for any person in the community or any teacher to think, next Thursday it's going to just run, everything's going to be great, but we're going to get better each day. And if people can work with us and believe in us, we will get better each day, but we need time. And our teachers deserve that. They have done unbelievable things in the past 72 hours. And I truly, unbelievable things. So in the change of calendar, originally we were saying, hey, all these trainings, if you do them, we're going to give you the days back. But our best asset is those teachers, so we need to give them the time. So here's what they're doing. Over the 21 hours, that would equal 3 solid PD days moving into this week, which would be tomorrow, next Monday, next Tuesday, are those 3 days for them. Many of them have worked ahead because that's the kind of professionals we have. If you click on Summer 2020 Online PD, this is where they train. That's one click for you. Mandated staff training is there as well.
I'm sorry.
My tech got to work.
I'm trying to bring it back. Oh, there we are, right here. Sorry.
So our online professional site, and this is, I'm going to pause right now. Jeff mentioned it, but I'm going to say names. Behind the scenes are John Wengren, Nick Truax, and Rich Wilson. Rich is actually handling the calls. My short time in this role has been so much easier because of their professionalism and what they're doing. And the other person who is unbelievable that doesn't get enough credit is sitting right here, and that's Paul Breon. Paul is the brains behind our instructional methodologies and what we're doing and how we're training. The principals here know that. Without him, we would be lost because he's creative, he's energetic. And what Jeff is missing is Jeff made the comment about, wasn't quite excited when this started, but I think his energy, and we've all seen it in doing this, and Dr. Boyle has said it, is incredible. Yes, we're challenged right now because we're doing something out of the norm, but we've got great people doing this. Okay? I'm just starting this, so I'm just lucky enough to be working with this team to get this going. So Paul's put this together. So if Jeff scrolls down, this is what our teachers are doing right now, okay? Right here, we have said this is absolute mandatory. We need you in your time to be working on these trainings. We're challenging you to become as much of an expert in Google as possible because that's our platform. Now, we'll go down. This is where Paul, watch this. This is all the other trainings that are there. It is completely differentiated, meaning any teacher, wherever they come in at their knowledge level, here you go. They can pick and choose and do so many trainings to extend themselves. Now, any of us know, we get to a point sometimes with these kind of trainings and we go, where do I even start? So if you scroll back up, Paul thought of that. And you click that little tab right there where it says, not sure where to start? Get out a little bit,
Oh, where is it
right
at?
there. Oh, not sure.
Sorry, I'm on it. Okay, sorry.
So Paul said to any teacher, hey, this is where you go. These are the trainings I recommend you do to get you started. Very concrete. Yes, you can be like, wow, you're asking a lot, because we are, right? We're taking teachers into a whole world that they never expected. So there's that part of it all. Jeff, if you go back to the main professional development page, you click on, go back to,
Go back
yeah,
one.
go back. Last piece of the training here, we have some mandatory trainings that are up there. I'll show you that quick, the left one. This is the other, so they're doing 14 hours of true virtual learning. They're doing 7 hours. This is all the stuff we have to do. We've added some things in there when it comes to some COVID-19 trainings, trying to keep everybody in the loop. This will be live. So we are doing everything we can to prepare them. But I'm going to turn it back over to Jeff. He's going to show you some things. But I think anybody in the community that's listening to us and hearing this and is going into our bridge model, we need continued patience. We need continued positive attitude because our teachers are going to give it 110%. But what we recognize is we need to support them. We need to work with them. We're going to continue doing that over the next week. We are changing education. And being someone that is not as tech savvy as this team, I can assure you, if you go look, being honest, what other districts are doing, they're using Google Meet, they're using platforms for their teachers. They're not going to this. We are truly challenging our staff because we want to be the best. Period. We'll get there. We can't be there. We're not going to be there day one. The message I sent to the teachers today was next Thursday isn't the end of the road. It's not, we got to be there. We got to be perfect. We're just beginning. And we're going to get better and better each day. And if we have issues, we got a great tech team that's going to go out to those buildings and we're going to work through those issues. Okay? Because at our worst, we can use Google Meet to do meetings. Okay? We don't want that to be our best. Right? We want to go here. We want to be dynamic. We want parents to see that, but we got to build a process. We got to get our teachers there. We will.
All right, thanks, John. All right, so I'm going to just go forward here past training. And, I just want to mention the main suite that everything kind of builds on. We've been on Google since 2012. So this has been an ongoing thing for Google for many years. And we're building up and it's expanded and expanded and expanded. And that is basically the core of our, virtual scenario. So now I'm going to go to really what's taking us outside the box. Open broadcaster software. The definition is open broadcaster software is a free and open source cross-platform streaming and recording program built with Qt and maintained by the OBS project. Yes, it is open source and it is free. Great thing, fantastic. And it is used by YouTube streamers and game streamers. So it is heavily used. They're on version 25, so it's stable. We've been banging it hard and it works really well. And that is the core of what we're using to deliver. So this is one thing we've always talked about is, we don't want to change the way teachers teach. We just want to deliver it to the house so that kids can experience that same thing at home that we're doing at school. And this allows us to do it. Like John said, with Zoom or just with Meet, you can bring up one camera at a time. You can do certain things, but it's a little cumbersome and it's a slow process. With this, when everyone gets on the same page, and yes, we have a learning curve and we realize that, but once they do, it becomes dynamic and it's absolutely wonderful. And like I said, I'm using it right now, so I'm going to kind of show you some of the power of it. So I'm going to get out of my presentation here, and I'm going to open something up in OBS to kind of show you what I mean. So right now we're, if I was presenting to a student, in the normal traditional method, cyber, you could be on and you could be using your microphone and, they could hear you and you could demonstrate like I was. But now we can take it to the next level. And now I can use my camera and be in the bottom corner and they can see me while I demonstrate my lesson or walk through them on the computer. Or whatever program I'm showing, or if I'm showing them a slide, they can see me, I can talk to them, and then at the same time, they can see what I'm doing. So that brings that personal aspect that normally you wouldn't have. Then, I could switch then and I could just go into my webcam. And I'm going to position myself so you can see me here. And as you can see, I can get fancy. I can put background images. And then I could just teach, if I wanted to, maybe spend a moment talking to them and, describing certain things, I could go to this, but I could fluidly do it. I could switch with a click back and forth between these different, what they're called our scenes. And basically, this is, a broadcasting software. So it's similar to what TV stations would use. So what we're creating is a studio for the teachers to then send home to the students. Then we could also bring up our document camera. And you can see my hand there. And right there, right now I don't have the light on, but I can turn the light on. Try not to shake it too much. And there's a little bit of a glare on this particular one. But what I can do is create a blackboard that I can write on, and now you as students in the classroom would see it, and the students at home would see it as well. So that now you can do it in a much better detail. Now cameras can pick up the board and the teacher's doing stuff on the board, but with this, they can see it much better. So I said thank you to Mrs. Hess because she allowed me to use her whiteboard. What's that? Well, I can change the angle, and it's what it is it's a glare off the camera, but I can change the angle, and then I can bring this up and down. And I can write new things on there and do whatever I want. So and you really don't need the light on, and then it'll readjust in the classroom, with more lighting. Because we have lighting turned up front here, because this projector is not as bright as the normal projector. So in most cases, you won't even need, to have the light on. It just works well on its own. Then, when, further along, we can have another camera, and you can see, those of you at home can't see it, but we have a web camera that we will have in every classroom, and we call this our teacher cam, that they could then stand up in front and demonstrate things and teach in front of them. And I'll switch to that. Right? And we see Ken over there. Wave, Ken. All right. So that's the power. We can switch, and when it's brighter, the resolution's a little better. And this is an older camera. We have new cameras. They're a little bit behind because of all the technology boom right now. Everything's a little bit behind. We ordered them back in early July, and they should be here shortly. But what we have in the classroom already is sufficient enough to do what we need to do. But this will just add to it later on. So you can fluidly just switch between these different scenes and just go from one to the other without having to really do anything much as far as changing video sources and the things you would normally have to do if you were in a standard Zoom or Meet situation. So this kind of gives us an advantage in our period of time where we're doing lessons to concentrate on the lesson and not have to keep switching inputs. And it also allows us to be a little dynamic. And we can go a little bit further. I've already had discussions with some teachers. We will have teachers that use the base level, and we'll have teachers that'll fly. And some science teachers I've had some discussions with are like, oh yeah, I can hook up my microscope and show that. The fact that you'd be able to hook a microscope and they could see amoebas, at their house, while you're doing it here, is fantastic. And another one said, can I get my camera to show up on it, or my camera on my phone, so I could go outside and do it remotely? And you can. There's a lot of flexibility in this. There's base functionality, which is, relatively easy to use, but they can fly with it. And we have a lot of people already thinking outside of the box with this. But that's basically it at this point. I just wanted to give you guys a little preview of it. And, are there any questions? Yes.
Jeff, I see you're holding a microphone. Would you explain what happens for teachers if they don't have to hold microphones?
No, they don't. So basically, I'm holding the microphone so everyone in the room right now can hear me. But a teacher, it's going to pick me up. And anyone that's home right now when I'm talking will be able to hear me. I mean, can't confirm that, but when you watch the video of this board meeting, you'll see that just talking alone is enough to do it. But I'm just making sure that you're all able to hear me tonight.
So the teacher doesn't need to wear a
Nope,
clip mic?
nope.
Can they roam anywhere in the room and pick it up at the same?
Yeah, and what right now we have the microphone that we're using right now, as long as they directionally, use the laptop, is their mic at this point. But soon when we have these, they have more of a directional microphone on them, and they pick up really well throughout the room. So yes, they'll be able to walk throughout the room. Now, one of the things that we've talked about is, having your area, with everything that's going on, maybe good at times, to stay within that area. But they certainly can go around and still be heard. Any other questions?
Will the classes be archived?
Yes, so part of this process is recording the class. You can record through, they have a couple options of the way they record. Actually, OBS records itself, and they can also record through Meet, because we're using Meet to stream it. But you can do it in both ways.
So for students that pick the live option, if they stay home, for whatever reason, can they access these classes?
Yes.
Online?
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. Say we would have a student who had to be quarantined, we can open this up and they can participate as they feel well.
How are we getting around confidentiality?
In what way?
In the way that you're recording, are you only recording the teacher?
Right.
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
not recording.
Not recording the
Just-
classroom.
You were projecting the class.
Yeah, and you would set your cameras up in such a way. And one of the reasons why we've been pushing and Paul's been pushing to use OBS as your recording is Meet will can record some of the students, where OBS just shows the output of what you do as a teacher. So that's what we're trying to push more into that direction.
Christina, we've also upgraded our acceptable use policy as well. So that'll all be signed.
Can I ask
Yes.
a question? First, let me say that this is fantastic. I appreciate all the efforts that the administration and the teachers that they're going to be doing with the training. I think this is outstanding. So kudos to your team and to you specifically and everybody that's worked on this. My question is in the two-way communication, though, in the bridge model. So a lot of what we're talking about, I know you just kind of mentioned it with me a little bit, is that it's recording the teacher and sending that out. had a couple of parents ask me how their child will be engaged in the classroom, or if they can engage or ask questions or do anything like that, and how that'll be monitored, and how to reduce the length of time they're spending on day or all day on the computers. Will there be targeted times for them to log in? Or, I mean, Zoom fatigue is real. It'll be real for kids. So just those two questions, I think, have been posed to me.
There's a lot of answers to that. A lot of details to that. Yeah, that's probably our most important thing. So K to 5 and 6 to 12 will look different. And I think, Dr. Gursky, what I want to say to that is our principals are going to be very involved in the day-to-day actions of buildings, trying to open them in this. So another point of this is we're going to have some key people working on this hybrid model. And I think what I want parents to hear is if there's issues with the system and how it's not working, that needs to come to me. Because we need to work through that. We need to learn. And Jeff used these words, and I'm going to stick with them now. We are on a learning curve. I don't want anybody to have the false information that we are not still working. Like, we are working hard. Our teachers are working hard. We are acquiring equipment. We are building things. The good news for all of you is Jeff gets emails daily from other districts asking if there's anything certain things they can borrow right now. Yes, we may not be perfect and have every little document cam, wire, like we are still building some things and getting the documents, but we're not in a situation where we can't start. That's huge. The answer to your question is K to 5, we are having our reading team, our reading specialists, all of which are K to 5 certified teachers, are being a virtual liaison. So they are going to be in classrooms helping teach, helping assist. They are going to give that child the ability to see a classroom teacher teaching, but they are also going to have the ability to retreat to their studio in their room, and then they can do some one-on-one. We are also, again, totally probably not what other districts are doing. We are going to supply at the secondary level as we move forward a Chromebook sitting beside a teacher at high school who's at their studio. So when they're running Google Meet here and it's going out, they can have Google Meet up beside them, tiled screen, they see all the kids, Google Meet's updating things so we can interact with them better. It is designed to be a two-way interaction. Just like in a classroom, a kid may raise their hand and you don't get to them right away. Similar is going to happen there. A kid may raise their hand virtually, or they may put a comment in. K to 5, we're going to have somebody there to be constantly, because what we assume is K to 5 kids need constant support. I think another important thing to say right now is the bridge model needs two key things. It needs the school, but it needs a learning coach at home. This isn't just like cyber models need a learning coach. We assume K to 5, there's going to be somebody working with these kids at home. And we understand parents are choosing this for safety, but I can't imagine a third grader not having someone watching what they're doing. 6 to 12, a little bit more independent. So what we're assuming is when the teachers are running the program and they're working from their studio, those kids can get to a point, they're a little bit more independent. The teacher's watching, they're working with them. Maybe when the kids go, after they do a lesson, it's video, it's archived for later. Kids are a little bit independent in the classroom. Teachers checking more on what they're doing. Do you need help? Do you need support? We have teachers already that are far beyond what any of us would be able to do in a classroom right now. They are incredible in what they've created. So we're on a learning curve. We've got teachers ready to go there. We're building as we're going. We all know we're building the airplane as we're flying it because we haven't had a choice. But I think what we're doing is a little uniquely different. So yes, we intended two-way. We are going to limit kid-to-kid communication to get started. Doesn't mean it won't be there later. I will also say, Dr. Boyle and I have talked about a live stream policy that references some key things about recordings and all of that, so we're protected as a district. But I give our teachers the utmost credit because I think they realize with 500 kids choosing to do something different, if we don't try and be dynamic, we're gonna lose people. We're gonna lose people. So I'm hoping people give us this chance that they work with us. Chris has done a great job with our cyber, working with people. We're building that as we're going to. So we're going to be there. We're going to be there to support. We're going to get better each day. Is my motto. So.
Well, the second one was just about length of time. When they logging in at the beginning of the day, really having to be live all day long.
Our K to 5 teachers right now, when a parent goes in, they're going to be working on a schedule. They'll see a schedule. And actually what we've asked our teachers to do is be very creative and have a schedule that is not just screen time, but beyond the screen. So we might have in the schedule, it's a snack break. We want you 12:30 to 1 o'clock, recess time. No using computers at this time, right? They may come up with creative activities to post or send them. Yes, they may have to go to a web page or something to look, but then they can go do something in it. What we're going to intend to try and do K to 5 is create a real day. They'll know though, at 9 o'clock, you're on at this time. I'll meet you then. At 10:30, I'll meet you. At 12:30, I'll meet you. At 1:30, I'll meet you. At 2:30. That's K to 5. 6 to 12, 6 to 8 are going to have a check-in model and have access to somebody. They're going to know who their lead teacher is, and then they're going to follow their schedule. 9 to 12, they're high school. They're going to go into their schedule. They're going to start. So part of this system, we can't have a 50-minute video to try and upload. So what we're hoping is when a kid, if I'm a high school kid and I'm going through all my classes, I'm going to get on, there's going to be a lesson. It's going to be recorded, archived. And then whether or not the independent time is them staying on Google Meet and staying in the system and asking questions, or going off, be like, I got this, I'm going to go work, and then I'll jump back on so I get a little break from sitting in front of the computer. So again, learning curve. That's the end goal. We may not be there for a few weeks. I'm hoping we get there fast, but we're trying to think through everything. But we've got great teachers that are going to really work hard. We'll work. I mean, people like Paul and Jeff doing this, and Rich and John and Nick behind the scenes, and the principal supporting it. We're going to get there.
Thank you. I appreciate knowing about the interaction and also the screen time.
A couple quick things. One of them made an important point that also in Dr. Maffei was here, mapping out the challenges of combating everything and the dynamics of the COVID. You mentioned about the need and the value of having that home coach, parent involved. We need to look at, or we have a vision of having some foreshadowing of what that, what's expected. Is there some level of something we can do so that we put ourselves in a better spot on the front end and play catch up on when the student isn't catching on quick enough, or maybe we need to engage the person at home that's looking after that particular student a little bit more aggressively, do that on the front end to get out ahead of it, because it's critical, it's mission critical.
Absolutely, and I think the reason we have the liaison people K to 5 is they're setting up in their schedules time to meet with parents. They're going to have like office hours so that they know that kid's not getting on. They're going to reach out to that parent and say, hey, what's going on? We just had this conversation in cyber world of what if we have kids that are saying they're doing cyber and then we're not hearing or seeing them, and cyber's independent. There's a lot, like you don't have to be on all the time. So we have our teachers. This is why I think we are better than any other program that's going to be out there, cyber or anything. And I'll even say homeschool, because I believe our teachers are better than any of them. I do. And I think they're the ones that are going to follow and they're going to check on things. We're going to use our intervention specialists. For instance, three of the 4 people that are going to work at the middle school are our 2 counselors and our intervention person as the touch base in the morning. So they're going to be watching. Now, 9 to 12 gets a little bit more difficult because we got to assume high schoolers are a little bit more independent. Doesn't mean, though, we're not going to use counselors, I would assume, and reach out if there's issues. We're going to treat those kids like they're in our classrooms. We're going to find ways to get to them. I want to make one other comment, Mr. Run, about safety. Yes, people may say we're creating a studio and we're making our teachers sit at their desk. That is not our long-term intention. The webcam will add to that. But if we're going to be real and we're talking about social distancing and safety in our classrooms and protecting our teachers, this system, what Jeff has done, has created a dynamic way to use lots of materials. Sitting in a chair. Believe me, I sat with math teachers yesterday who looked at me and said, John, I am so much better. And they kneeled down beside a desk, an empty desk. I'm better here, but I know I can't be there right now. Maybe not all the time. Maybe here and there I will, but I can't be there all the time. So what we're hoping is we're not only creating a system that is effective for kids as much as possible in this world, but we can have a lot of our teachers be in an area that they're safe and they can work from there and still teach great content. But we're keeping them safe. That's such a big part of it, right? Keeping the adults safe and the kids safe. So it's there. It's designed to do that. Doesn't mean they have to stay there at all times. but they have the opportunity to teach.
Outstanding. And then that's wonderful. Dovetail in my just parting comment, and I echo what Dr. Gursky said. This is absolutely outstanding. I know out of my curiosity early on, we were thinking around what this virtual concept may evolve to. And there's ideas and infrastructure, which Jeff just spoke about. What I'm seeing here is just phenomenal. And I support that not only by witnessing what I have, but seeing the energy from you guys, seeing the foreshadowing, the dynamics that you guys have talked about, and all those things that you continue to do. You just feel it. You got this vision of being the best, and you recognize in a humble manner that being the best, you sometimes got to stumble and fall before you get down the road, and that's how you get there. And I just really love the passion. I love what I see, and I think that that's going to continue to put the Danville School District above all others, and that's just a reflection on you guys. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's outstanding.
I love the analogy right now of riding a bike. Right? Any one of us that rode a bike when you got to the end, it was the greatest thing you ever did, right? Freedom. But you fell, you cried, it hurt, you got back up, and you kept going. You get that. That's what we're doing right now, because there's some pain in this and the learning curve. So
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Is there any other comments, questions, concerns? Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is our consent items. Do we have a motion to package all the reference consent items as one, or do we want to pull them out?
I'll make a motion.
The ones listed. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Anything else?
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Dr. Uasa,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, school property and supplies. We have a motion for 7.1 to approve payment on application for the amount of $20,336.67 to O'Neill Excavating. Maintenance project.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Dr. Uasa,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish. Yes. Mr. Huron.
Yes. 8.1 was captured in the consent. Agenda item 8.2, new hire assistant soccer coach. The board will take action to approve Paige Harris as assistant girls soccer coach. I have a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second that.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Dr. Uasa,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish. Yes. Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Okay, item 9, the curriculum and management report. Nothing there. Okay. Nothing on school community relations. Finance. Item 11.1. Okay, all right, thank you. 11.3, bills for payment. The board will take action to approve the bills for payments for July 16, 2020 through August 18, 2020 as presented. Motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Dr. Uasa,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish. Yes. Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes.
Can I change my vote to abstain, please?
Okay. All right, moving on.
Can I just say one thing? One of the consent items was the description of the department lead teacher. And the way we have found to finance this is through Title IV funding this year, so it doesn't add any undue stress on the budget.
Right, item 12.5, board will take action to approve the employment of Angela Savilo as business and gifted teacher at the high school at a starting salary of $63,970, effective August 24th, based on the DEA contract ending June 30th, 2019. A motion to approve. Well, actually, we back up half a step. Excuse me. We could take a motion to approve 12.5, 12.10, or we could break that out.
I make a motion to approve 12.5 through 12.10.
Thank you, Christina.
I will second that.
Thank you, Dr. Rossi.
Dr. Yuasa.
Yes.
Mrs. Fish.
Yes.
Mr. Gordon.
Yes.
Dr. Gursky.
Yes.
Mr. Reichert.
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Okay, moving to item 13.3. We could look to make a motion to approve 13.3 to 13.5, or we could separate them.
I need to make a motion that they be separate.
Okay. Thank you. All right, item 13.3. Board will take action to approve Daniel students who attend the Central Columbia Rehabilitation A339 program beginning the 2020 to 2021 school year. Danville Area School District will be paying tuition to Central Columbia at a cost of $11,966.46 to the Danville District. Transportation to and from the district is the responsibility of the parents with no liability to Danville Area School District. Concerns, comments, or questions?
Yes, can someone just explain what that is actually? We're talking about 339.
Right. What happens is when a school district has a student who wants a specific CTE, a career technical education program, if we do not have that program for them and they can get it at a neighboring district, then we are responsible to send that student there and pay that district for their enrollment.
We were talking about the agricultural 339, so this is a different thing.
This trial, yeah, we have 2 ag programs. This one is going into health careers. So it's a different program that we do not have.
What's the demand for that?
This is the first year, I believe, that Central has created it.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the first student we've had asked. I would like to strike, though, the transportation piece, just to confirm that in writing from the parents, because I don't have that in writing in their letter that I saw today. Okay, so.
To further clarify, there are a multitude of CTE programs that you can have. And as long as the local vocational school doesn't have them. And so, whereas Danville has 2 different types of ag tech programs, Central Columbia has 2 ag tech programs, an accounting program, oh my gosh, I'm gonna pull blank. And a rehabilitation program and a fifth. So we have a multitude of programs that we offer at Central.
And additionally, Milton, a neighboring district, also has several CTE programs that they offer. This did come up at some point in the curriculum meeting several months ago. We would like to continue, I think, discussions around that. So that is something that was on a previous agenda, the benefits
Yeah,
to having those programs.
It's a good opportunity for our district to expand and offer more programming because it's additional revenue that we then can bring in because we collect tuition for those students.
We don't lose our own students to another district.
Correct.
Both personally to maintain relationship with that child, but also the family.
We will be working on our comprehensive plan that kind of got stalled with the COVID things. So we're going to pick that back up very shortly. And this would be one of the goals that we would like to discuss with the committee.
Okay, with that. Item 13.3.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mrs. Fish,
Abstain.
Mr. Gordon,
No.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert.
Yes.
Dr. Uasa,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Okay. Item 13.4. Will take action to approve the letter of agreement between Danville Area School District and the Children's Service Center of Wyoming Valley as presented. Comments, concerns, or questions? Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second. Thank you.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Dr. Uasa,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Item 13.5, news story amendments. Board will take action to approve the news story amendments that go with the news story agreements for the 2020 to 2021 school year to include enhanced remote learning as presented. Comments, concerns, or questions? How many students we have on there?
I actually think we're at one, but potentially two. It's two now. Okay, there are two.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second. Thank you.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Dr. Uasa,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Nothing on transportation tonight. Then item 15, is there any board concerns or any items for our next meeting agenda? None noted. Okay. And then we'll open it up for our second public comment period. Same protocol. If there are anybody in attendance that would like to make a public comment, they need to state their name and their address. And they're allowed 3 minutes. to
If
share
there are
their
any- If there's any public comment at this time, please raise your hand. There is no public comment at this time.
Okay, thank you. All right, item number 17, adjournment. We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned. Kind of my favorite part.